All right. So we continue discussing about 7 R's. Now we are on the third R, which is called replatform. So as the picture depicting, you may be moving from an old version of an operating system to a newer version of operating system, or maybe you are making a database engine change where you are replatforming your data onto a newer database, like maybe it was MySQL on-prem and now you are moving to Amazon Aurora, which is a managed service. So we'll explore this database path in this particular section. Let me first explain what is replatform. So replatform, it modify existing on-prem application to work optimally in cloud while retaining much of their core architecture. So we are not making a lot of core architectural changes. We are making it in a way that it can work in cloud efficiently, and also it is referred sometime as lift, tinker or modify and shift. So we are moving that application but with very less changes, maybe operating system, maybe some database engine, maybe some of the management options associated, but I'm not making any huge change in its architecture. That is what we mean by re-platform. We are providing it a new platform where it can run. Let's talk about the next aspect here. So same thing, good, bad, and ugly. We will talk about that. So good, it mostly involves switching from self-hosted architecture to a managed service. Obviously, when we switch to managed service, we save a lot of operational things, operational expenditure, and we can focus more on the important part about our business. Also, it allows application to leverage cloud capabilities like auto scaling, managed storage, automation, and data processing services. If I give you example, let's say you were running on-prem database. Now you moved this database from on-prem to a Amazon RDS as a service. Now here there is one single feature which says storage auto scaling. Done, and you do not have to worry about adding storage very frequently to your database. It would scale up to a final limit you have provided. So it becomes much easier for you, and maybe you would be start using some features like automation. You wanted this particular on-prem databases to have a highly available architecture, so you have to set up a database and then configure replication between them, then maybe set maintenance schedule on that. On RDS side, it would be just one checkbox. I go ahead and select it and I say I want to make it as a multi-AZ architecture. So that will make a lot easier my cloud journey and migration. So that's how the benefit of replatform is. So we start using some native capabilities of cloud. But obviously, there are some challenges too. Let's talk about the bad part of it. Now, the bad, ugly consideration I'm just using as a way of explaining things. It may not be that bad or it may not be that ugly. Just this is just a relative entity I'm talking about here. So even if it requires only minor changes, making the change can still be costly and time consuming compared to rehosting. What if it is a small change? Let's say we are on Windows 2003 and we want to move to 2019, newer version. Obviously, it is technically possible, but there are a lot of hoops you have to go into. Your lot of compatibility check, lot of time and money would be involved in this particular process too. So, though it requires minor changes, I am technically just changing your operating system from older to newer, but still it may require a lot of time-consuming processes and testing and verification. So, just be aware about that. Also, it would require thoroughly testing, continuously monitoring, and anomaly detection to avoid costly issues. So maybe what if you changed it and then you used auto scale with a very high limit, or you put it into a storage auto scaling without performing any checks, it may end up into unnecessary cost accumulating into your account. So just be aware about that. Also, what I have seen most of the time, and probably you would relate it to, that sometimes scope creep can turn a replatform project to a refactor project. We wanted to make a small change, but we ended up making huge changes or big changes on that. Most of the time, if I give you real life examples, this starts in your home renovation projects. So you started to do a little bit of home renovation, and before you realize, you ended up doing a lot of renovation and costing money and time. So this is what we mean by scope creep. So this can turn your replatform project into a refactor project, which can be time consuming. So just be aware about that part. Also, some of the tools and services we may use for it could be AWS Database Migration Service. In short, we call it DMS. This is we will be discussing in a minute. We already talked about AWS Application Migration Service, so this can also help you in performing replatform for your application. So I hope this thing is clear. You get a better idea of what replatform is. In this particular section, I would focus more on the database migration side. We will discuss about DMS. We already have discussed about application migration service into previous chapter. So join me into next chapter and we will talk about database migrations. Thank you.